Good morning. It's Wednesday, September 20th, 2023, and I am Barbara Vita. I'm the Director of Early Childhood Initiatives with the Connecticut Network for Children and Youth. And as such, I coordinate the Connecticut Children's Collective. And today I'm really excited because we're starting off first in our Collective Wisdom series, which is something that I hope to bring regularly to the collective. And what it entails is having you all, the local early childhood collaborative directors, staff, parents, come and share what you're doing with your local collaboratives, and share your wisdom, your tips and tricks, how you did things, where you went to get resources, the nitty gritty of what makes this work go round. This is, I believe, a form of best practice in my eyes. And so I'm really excited. Today's topic is going to be parent or community cafes. We've been working on that as a collective pretty consistently now for the last year, thanks to the PDG funding and the Office of Early Childhood, um, and the Early Childhood Funders Collaborative as well. We have a lot of things in store this fall for the collective as far as trainings go to further our abilities and your abilities to facilitate meetings and trainings. But that's more to come. Today we're focusing on three communities. We have New Britain, and we have Manchester, and we also have Bloomfield, a parent ambassador representative from Bloomfield. And so I'm really excited about it. But first, since this is the first professional development in the new year, I want just to go around and introduce ourselves and just tell a little bit about yourself. So I'm going to start in my view of who I see, which is Donna Farr.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Donna Farr. I'm excited to say I have a new title because I've gone full-time with the town of Manchester. I've been the School Readiness Liaison for about 6 years, and now I've got this really long title of Early Childhood Community Engagement Specialist. Hopefully we change that somehow, but that's the official title. So it means that a possibility that I get to do more than just school readiness. I continue to work on these grants, but get to broaden my work out. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, congratulations, Donna. That's really wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nicole?
My name is Nicole Villanueva. I am the New Britain Parent Cafe Family Engagement Consultant and also the New Britain Incubator Coordinator.
Wonderful. And Christopher?
Hey everybody, Chris Badenhop. I am the School Readiness Liaison in New Britain, but also serve as the collaborative, lead, I think, for the local early childhood collaborative. They are one and the same. So excited to share some of the work we're doing.
Great, thank you. Lisa?
I'm Lisa Goulet, and I'm in the Winston Family Resource Center, and I'm on the School Readiness Council.
Glad you're here. Jessica, hi.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Mitchell, and I'm a parent ambassador for the Early Childhood Collaborative of Southington.
Thank you for being here. Mary.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Mary Oster. I'm the Early Childhood Coordinator for the City of Norwalk and one of the staff members for the Norwalk Early Childhood Collaborative.
Well, we're glad you're feeling better and that you're here, Mary. And Dawn, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Like Donna, I too have a new title in my school district. I'm Supervisor of School Readiness, Early Learning, and Family and Community Engagement, which is really exciting. So a big goal for me is to make sure that the work we're doing in the Early Childhood Collaborative is in alignment with the school district efforts, because there are so many things that are happening in silos. So wanting to be sure that we have our systems streamlined, and I'm excited to learn from all of you today. So thank you.
Congratulations to you too. Hi, Magdalene, how are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you? Hi, everyone. Magdalene Garcia is for the City of Hartford, Hartford Talks coordinator, but also the advisor for the Early Learning Parent Cabinet that we started here for the City of Hartford. So I'm really excited to be a part of this and also this collective wisdom because we want to start some parent cafes, but also some outside of the parent cafes, our meetings, we want it to be more mindful with play as well as educational, that we can get the parents, hands on with anything that's early learning. So I'm just excited to be here and get any wealth of information.
Wonderful. Thanks for coming. And Jill, hello.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Jill Mahoney. I'm the School Readiness Liaison in Naugatuck and also the Executive Director of Connecticut Partnership for Children.
Well, we're glad you're here. Thank you.
Yep.
And Joanne Kelleher, how are you?
Hi, everybody. I'm the Executive Director of the Early Childhood Collaborative of Southington, and I also serve on the steering committee of the Connecticut Early Childhood Alliance.
Well, we're glad you're here. Thank you. And good morning, Joe. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Barbara. Good morning, everyone. I am Jo Modeste, and I'm a parent ambassador with the town of Bloomfield for the Alliance for Bloomfield's Children. And I've been a parent ambassador since May, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thanks, Joe. And Christine, how are you? She might be multitasking, I think. Yeah. Okay, Christine is the regional director. Oh, okay, there she, sorry, I can't get on audio. Christine Cicchetti, the Northeast Early Childhood Collaborative. It's a regional collaborative. Oh, there she is. Hello. Okay, well, I'm really glad that you're here. And the first thing that we're going to do today that's on the agenda is I'm going to share my screen and show you something that I have been working on. And the collective is, can you all see it? Are you able to see it? Someone shake their head. Okay, thanks, Joanne. And this is something that I've been working on, and I'm going to be sending it out after this meeting. And you're not obligated, but if you want to, it's been looked at through multiple eyes for typos and grammar and edits. But the purpose of this is that we're going to make it into an easy to use pamphlet and give multiple copies to all of the LECCs that are in the collective. And it's just basically kind of like a recipe book of how to. And so I've taken pictures. And again, if anyone objects to the pictures that I've used, that's why I'm sending this out. Then let me know and I can change it out. But it basically, I wanted to go through it and then just get your feedback on it. So it's our community cafe, and want to host an impactful, meaningful community cafe. All you need to know is in this easy to follow brochure. So this is hopefully going to be breaking down the fear for parent ambassadors and for other folks who have never done this before, that it's something that's doable and that you can just do it step by step and you won't be overwhelmed by it. So the order that I've chosen is choose your team, and then know what your call to action is. Like, why do you want to run this parent cafe or community cafe? Did you have a survey that you presented to parents in your community that showed a topic that was really hot? Things like that. And then there's the to-do list. Establish a working team, establish the topic, decide on menu and refreshments, all the nitty-gritty that you have to do to run a cafe. And then this is the day of. So this is getting down to the wire. Make sure that your space is inviting and welcoming. Is there a tablecloth for the refreshment table? Parent leaders should be ready to take their stations as the event begins, and then have fun. Remember to end in beauty. Remember to establish the cafe rules of etiquette before beginning. And then it goes to team assessments. And this is the Plan, Do, Act. This is the CQI, the Continuous Quality Improvement. You just don't do an activity and then do something else. You reflect on it and see what was, what could have been improved on it. And so this section here talks about that. And here's the Plan, Do, Act. Decide how frequently you want to hold community cafes. Remember, there needs to be sufficient time in between them to plan, as well as provide participants the time oh, this is a typo, as well as provide participants the time to work on the action, the call to action. And then it's just wash, rinse, repeat. Once you get this going, you can just start doing it all over again. But what I wrote in this little section is that you have to be consistent with your cafes. You have to say that it will be on a certain date, and you have to follow through and be consistent. And as you become consistent and regular with your community cafes, you're going to have more parents joining, because parents talk to each other and things get known by word of mouth. And that's a very powerful thing. And then over here, I have a little quote, and my mic is messed up on my computer, so I can't turn and read. There is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. And I kind of love that quote. I'll read it again. There is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. And Margaret Wheatley said that. And then the last page is the 5 protective factors, which so many of us I know within the collective follow as a framework for parent and family engagement. And then community cafe builds community. This is kind of a message from the National Community Cafe Boards, the Community Cafe Collaborative, excuse me. That community cafe conversations spark leadership and relationships needed to strengthen families. And I think, especially in this post-pandemic age, we really need to build up the foundation of our society. And the foundation of our society is our families. And so the work of parent cafes and community cafes and empowering parents around the state and the country is just, I think, the most important work right now. We need to get families strong again. And then here is just the many thanks to the people who made this possible. So anyway, I'm gonna stop share and mute myself and take a drink of my tea and let you guys tell me what you think. I found a typo while I was doing this, so I guess you always think you got all the typos, and I just can't let it get to print. If there's a typo when it go, I will just, okay.
Reading out loud makes a huge difference in finding those typos.
Agreed, and I think it wasn't a typo, it was just an absence of a word. So it wasn't spelled wrong or incorrectly, so you looked for those, right? I thought it was good. It seems straight to the point. Obviously I need to read more of it, but it also gives us sort of a guide, right? A step 2 for those of us that are trying to figure that out.
Great. Okay. And then I also thank you. I'm going to be getting it translated too, so that's why I want to make sure that it gets really well proofread. So I'm going to send it out to the entire collective, have them respond, and I'm not going to give a really long time for them to do it, and not everyone is obligated to do it, just anyone who is interested in it. And then I will read it out loud, because it's funny, because I was an English major in my previous life, and I have a degree in English, and that's what I did with every single page that I ever handed in. I read it out loud. So you're right, Joanne, you're right. So look for the email, and look for the pamphlets. Hopefully we're going to get them printed by the end of the year, and I will either hand deliver or mail them to you. I'm figuring a stack of maybe 50. What would be a good number for do you think 50 is a good start? Okay, okay. Because you can use it to explain for parents as well. Like if you want to invite them to the community cafes, it might be a good invitation. I just think it's a nice a nice conversation starter. So, so that's in the works, and something to look forward to. Um, but in the meantime, we have a lot of wisdom here today, and we're going to be starting off with our New Britain cohort, which is Christopher Badenhop, who is the School Readiness Liaison for the City of New Britain, and he is the Parent Cafe Coordinator. And he has with him Nicole Villanueva, who is the Family Engagement Specialist with New Britain Parent Cafe Project. And I'm interested to learn about this project. So I'm going to mute myself and you can take it away. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Barbara, for the opportunity. Everybody can see the slides okay? All right. So, Nicole, like we talked, jump in whenever. A few years ago, I've been liaison in New Britain for just over 3 years. But quickly, as I learned the role, realized that our council was strong for school readiness and that we had a lot of community partners that attended, engaged, showed up, but we really didn't have a very good family engagement piece. Our parents weren't very involved with the council at all, and we didn't have any other good branches really to connect. And so when the local early childhood collaborative grant came out later that fall, I think we started in 2021. When it came out that fall, I talked with my providers in New Britain and said, hey, I think this is an opportunity really to build up these things that are missing, right? And so we applied for the grant. Of course, obviously we got it, right? And within that was my opportunity to really start focusing on our community families and what they need and wanted more than we were able to do before outside of just our programs. And so obviously we started on the grant application and did those kind of things, had to think about what we needed. But we also quickly built a survey with a lot of different people. I think there were about 15 people in various agencies throughout New Britain that helped to really fine tune, including family members. We had 5 family members additional to that because obviously that's the intent, right? And really wanted to build a survey, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but on what families wanted, what they needed, what were barriers in the community, what were issues birth to 5 that they were facing, what was their thoughts on childcare and the need and the cost, right? And so we started building those sort of things. And then the other thing that we did to start off was building our team. And so we developed some contracts, again, with this same team, some contracts or agreements of what does a parent ambassador look like, right? What are some things that we might incorporate into this? And then we started advertising, right? And getting some feedback about parent ambassadors, who might be interested, what does that look like? You know, how do we pay them? How do we connect? What are the processes? And so I'm happy to report that right now at this point, we have 4 consistent parent ambassadors in New Britain of various ethnicities, and a few are bilingual. And so that's quite helpful. New Britain's languages, English, Spanish, Polish, and Arabic are the main. And so I think one of the things that Nicole and I are working on right now is trying to get a Polish speaking ambassador and one that speaks Arabic as well, because I think that's been really tough, but they're very different and diverse in our community, and being able to tap into what they want and need is what we're really trying to focus on. And so that's sort of kind of how we started, what we started looking at. We got a team of parent ambassadors, and we got a team of myself and Nicole as the consultant, and really started just planning out, right? We didn't know how to do this. We didn't know what we needed to do, sort of knew there was a call to action and just kind of went with it. And so you can see different things. What we've been doing is holding cafes. I think we've done 4 now, Nicole, maybe three or four of them over the last year or so. We're holding them at our Head Start in a large community room where families are coming to talk about workshops or have workshops and talk about different various topics. One of the things that our survey let us know was that not only did parents have certain topics that they wanted to explore, but they didn't feel like they were connected to other families like-minded in the community. Like they wanted that connection. And so that's one thing that we started to really think of. How do we connect them? How do we make sure that there's time for that? How do we make it an approachable sort of way versus uncomfortable? And how do we just gain them? Additionally, some of the topics that they came up with, they really wanted to know how to not only help their children with anxiety, and again, this was the end of 2021, right? That was like one of the top things that came up. Anxiety for them and their children, challenging behaviors and social emotional supports. How do I don't even know what to do, right? How do I work with that? How do I connect with others? And then how do I have fun with my kid, right? Was actually a big one too, of like, you know, I don't always get them. I don't know what to do, right? They're at a young age kind of thing. And I don't know how to help them with that. And so those are the last 4 cafes that we've done, trying to focus on those topics. You'll see in a little bit, and Nicole will share what we're doing now in the future, but we've got another cafe coming up in October, which is exciting. Our parent ambassadors are fantastic. I give them so much kudos for all that they're doing and wanting to be a part. It's really cool because it's not me that wants to drive this, right? I can give you the funds and the mechanisms, but it's really the parents that are I'm doing the work and reaching out. And so they're doing some outreach in our community at different places, reaching out to vendors for our workshops and connecting with other families at parks and at schools, at different things, seeing what people need. So that's been really cool as well. I'm going to hand it over to Nicole and let her kind of talk to some of the things that we're doing shortly, and then some of the goals that we're looking at achieving. I think even though we're presenting here today, it's all very much a work in progress, and we're learning as we go. And each time we do have a survey that we collect from families, those that are there, but also those that don't show up, right? We reach out to them, and it's a reflection process every time. So Nicole, go ahead.
Thank you, Grace. So where we are going next. So we want to continue growing our team, right? With inviting more parent ambassadors, but also we want to keep giving more skills or using the skills that the parent ambassadors that we have right now have, expanding them and knowing what other things they want to learn and what other things they want to do as well for the community. Other thing that we want to continue doing is connecting with other parent cafes. I met the other day with Donna, and it was a very I can say fructífero meeting. Like we learn from each other, we share ideas, and we left the meeting very excited to do another parent cafe. One of the things that we also have been reflecting is like how many parent cafes we want to do. If it's for me, we'll do one every month, but the reality is that it takes a lot of preparation, right? We have to do outreach, we have to prepare the flyer. We have been in the last parent cafes, one of the things that we have created as part of our plan is just to meet before the parent cafe that is upcoming, right? Give us the directions for the day and how we're gonna go with it through the day during that event, and after meeting and reflect about what happened that day, and also reflect in the surveys that we get from the parent cafe event. So based on that, we determined, and we are thinking that it's better for us to do it quarterly, so we have enough time to prepare for the next one. And also, if it's something like we did a one parent cafe that it was having fun with our kiddos, that it was a hands-on workshop. So if we see that that the parents want to have more about the same topic, at least have a part 2 about it. We did a part 2 because the parents that went to that first part, they were very excited and very engaged, and they wanted a second part. So it gave us enough time to talk to the trainer, right, and plan ahead for that. And we also want to continue growing the community. We have been having a very positive results with the outreach, with the engagement for the PAs, with the engagement with the parents, and the parent cafes has been very great, right? Amazing, and keep growing. So we want to keep growing our parent cafes, inviting more parents, and that the whole community hears about what is happening, right? And how we can help them and support them in each of the events. And with the resources too. Each of the parent cafe that we have, we invite vendors depending of the topic. So we try to invite the vendors related to what's gonna happen. Our next parent cafe will be in October 12th. Please, if you can pass. Our next parent cafe will be on October 12th, and it's about healthy cooking with your kiddos. So it will be another hands-on training on preparing food, snacks, also knowing a little bit of what to buy in the grocery stores. Like, it is also very affordable. And we are very excited. So the next, what we do to prepare for this one is we have already the flyers. Now we are preparing to do outreach, let the parent register, and then have a new parent cafe where they can engage. And all of the vendors for this parent cafe will be about nutrition, right? So we try to align the vendors based on the topic, and again, hearing what the parents want in those surveys. So based on that, we prepare the parent cafes. And we're looking forward to keep learning from all of you and from other parent cafes, and also continue supporting and show the community that we are here also for them, and that we can give them the resources or guide them where to find the resources that they need.
Yeah, so a couple things that I neglected, thank you, Nicole, that I neglected to mention. You see the flyer here. So Nicole's been working on the flyers. We, revamp it. We do send the flyers out to the community, different people, schools, etc. And we give either a electronic version where they can click the link. We use JotForm, but similar to like SurveyMonkey, right, to collect the data. It's a simple thing for registration. They put their name, email, and or phone number, a way for us to contact them and follow up to remind them that the cafe is coming up. Also to ask them how many children will be coming with them, because we do provide childcare, and what are the ages, so that we can sort of prepare, the staff. And we do dinner for them as well, right? And so it's a free dinner that they can come to and kind of connect. So that's been a positive thing. And we also always have free giveaways. I do that through our council funds, right? Our quality enhancement funds. We get different giveaways and things, bags of books or art supplies or things like that that match sort of our theme sometimes. And then we always have a few raffles that we give away. And so the picture that you saw towards the beginning was us choosing our parent ambassadors pulling out the raffle tickets to hand out the raffles to the winners, the families that were there. Things that we've learned quickly, I don't know how time is, Barbara, but things that we've learned quickly is that advertisement, you just got to keep plugging away. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes, you're missing areas and you sort of try to go to different places. Our flyers are in English and Spanish, and we're going to be working on getting it in Arabic and Polish as well. And so trying to get that out in multiple languages obviously is a better option. We send it, like I said, with electronic version, so the register now is a hyperlink, and then also we have it like this to be printed, so that when our parent ambassadors go out into the community, parents can just click the QR code and register right there while they're talking with them. And so we found that both of those methods work depending on who is sharing it with families. And so we've sort of kind of gone that route. I think the follow-up is some of the biggest things, and that we're learning, right? You know, emailing families right beforehand and things like that. And then like Nicole said, we meet with our parent ambassador team a few days before the event to make sure everybody knows what they're doing. I can't say enough about our parent ambassadors and the work that they're doing. And they just seamlessly jump in and engage with families. It's just really cool. So to the parent ambassadors on here, I appreciate what you're doing. I don't know you, but the work you do is really important. So thank you for allowing us to share a little bit of our gained wisdom over the last year and a half, but we're still learning, and I'm excited to hear the other people. I got my pen ready to take some more notes and ideas. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christopher and Nicole. That was really, really interesting and valuable information. I have two comments, and then I know Mary had a question, and there are a couple other questions. But I like the fact that you have a logo on your flyer, and I'm wondering if other people just kind of like brand recognition, I guess, is what it could be considered. Is that so when parents see that logo, they know, okay, this is for me. I better perk up. And it's was that intentional, or did you?
It was, yeah. So behind me, oh, I gotta go this way, is our school readiness logo. And so what we did is we took the sort of colors, and I worked with a designer to talk through, worked with our team to sort of say, what do we kind of look like? We talked about a bunch of different things. And then she gave us some proofs, and we voted on it and got our cafe logo. And so we want it to be recognizable in the community on flyers, events, social media. And then also our parent ambassadors have like lanyards with tags that say they're parent ambassadors, and it has the logo. So trying to keep that consistent across. So thank you for pointing that out. I didn't share that. So we are excited. That was a good step.
Yeah, yeah. And then the other is more of a request. I think as we begin to realize across the state that there are many languages that we need to start maybe translating and interpreting for. If you would maybe share your point person for interpreting the Polish and what was the other language that you had mentioned?
Arabic. So
Arabic.
currently,
Yeah, that would be helpful, I think.
I think I don't have it in the collaborative. I rely on the New Britain school system to do it. So I think that's one of our reasons we're trying to really reach out into the community and get parent ambassadors that can help with that. But we don't currently have that. And so I rely on people I know in the district that can do it quickly. So I don't know that them doing work across the state they may, I don't know, but
yeah.
But when we do get that, I'll say when confidently, I'd be happy to share that too. It's definitely neat.
Great. Okay. Listen, on our agenda, we had Donna Farr next, and we have had a request that Jo, the parent ambassador from Bloomfield, go next, just for technical reasons. Is that okay with you, Donna? Okay. Does anyone, before we move on, does anyone have any questions for Nicole or Christopher regarding their wonderful presentation? And I have been to one of their parent cafes, and I have to say, Chris, that it was really fun watching all the parents get excited about the raffles and the giveaway. It was a very fun, enjoyable, educational time, and I used some of the things that I learned from it was a summer, like very inexpensive free summer activities that you can do with your children, and I used some of them with my little granddaughter. So thank you. Bill, you had your hand up.
Yeah, just a quick question. Chris, I know you said you have several parent ambassadors. Are all of them compensated or stipend in some way, or?
Yes, they all, we are working with them. They get $25 an hour to whatever they're working with. So they track their things, their hours of work and outreach, the cafe, etc. And then yeah, we use our LECC funds to pay them. Some come to the council meetings and do different things. And so yeah, and then I also use my council funds too if we didn't have enough, right, to be able to compensate, because I think it's just great work. It being the council on the collaborative liaison or leader helps because I can see both budgets and work together. But yeah, they do get compensated.
Okay, great.
And then I
Any
saw Nicole answered it, but our average has been about 10 to 12 per cafe. Last time we had 45 register, and so I was like blown away. But then we had only 12 show up, and I was like really bummed. And then we realized, oops, we forgot to email everybody the night before and say like, remember, tomorrow's the thing. So still a learning process, but the fact that it's getting to more people, this was this last time. So we're excited. People are recognizing it. We've had repeat families come and talk and bring other people. So that's really cool.
That is very cool. Good show.
And then I have a question real quick for Nicole and Chris. I think this is fabulous. I'm just like, my head is like, idea. For the cafes, they always have some type of giveaway with whatever you're doing or whatever your theme topic is outside of the raffle, correct?
Yeah, so we try to have everybody leave with something free, right? A bag of some kind of goodies, a book, some art materials, something that's useful that they, can use at home. And then we have, 2 or 3 raffles, gift cards, or like it was a spa basket, different things, some smaller things. So some people get that, but everybody leaves with something for them and their kiddos.
And then my other question is kind of to where Jill was asking with the stipends and stuff with the parents. Are some of them not working? Are some of them working? Because sometimes for me, it's hard because there's people who are interested and they don't want to bombard themselves because they do work a full-time job to then be a part of this team that they are passionate about, but kind of step back to say it's a little too much, even though we do have the money to compensate them. So I'm like going around trying to find people who aren't really working or working part-time at times to kind of get more vested interest, even though I do have people who still help out working full-time. So I'm just curious across the board because that's what I'm finding. It's like I'm interested, but how much do I have to do? But I can only give this many hours,
Right. And so right now we're at 50-50, Magdalene. 2 of them are working full-time, I believe. Or one of them is one of Nicole's incubator participants. So she will be working full-time and will only be able to help certain hours, and then 2 are not working. It's a mix for sure. I think one of the things that we're trying to do now is talk about a tiered system. So we have our cafes, and we know now after 4 of them, kind of that rinse, wash, repeat that Barbara talked about. We have it written down thanks to Nicole, and we have it organized and what we need to do each time, right? And so we have that core that's helping with that. But the 2 that want to do more, then what are other areas now that we can utilize them? Maybe another committee or something around family engagement. So we're trying to think around those terms now. And others might want to do only that, right? And we might get ambassadors that don't want to do the cafe. So trying to think outside the box.
No, that's perfect because that's what we've been thinking too. Because I was just like, I have these work groups in this cabinet. They might not be able to give me their whole vested interest, but what they can give me, I still want to keep them, So that's I'm happy I'm kind of on the same page with everyone because sometimes it's kind of like am I doing it? Am I not? Okay, I'm just keeping it moving and seeing how it goes. So
I think that's the takeaway, Magdalene, is you just got to keep it moving. Right?
Thank you.
For sure. All right, I think with that, we're going to move on to Jo Modeste, who is the parent ambassador for the Alliance for Bloomfield's Children. And she's been doing a great job. And she and a colleague of hers, a friend, have come up with a program or a curriculum, if you will, for self-care, adult self-care. And they think that it would be a wonderful topic for a parent cafe or a community cafe conversation, or just to have like a half-day retreat in a community. And so she wanted to talk a little bit more about that and share that with you. So thank you, Jo, for being here. I appreciate it so much. And the floor is yours, as they say.
Thank you, Barbara. And this is an excellent segue for Magdalene's question, because when I became a parent ambassador in May, I was very hesitant because I do have kids and I do work full time, and I still wanted to be impactful in my community. And I said, please don't overwhelm me with things that I want to commit to, but I really can't. And when I joined ABC, Nikita and Hi Gail, they were very welcoming and they played to my strengths and my availability. So I think that outlining the fact that you don't have to take on 20 hours of work per week or any gifts and talents that you may offer to ABC in this case is appreciated. I think outlining that first and foremost for parents who may be on the line of, I want to participate, but I don't want to be overwhelmed, is an extremely important way of reaching parents who are in that kind of middle space of not wanting to take on one more thing, but still wanting to be involved in their community. So I think that this was born of having such a welcoming experience at ABC, and also because during the pandemic, well, the height of the pandemic, I had an opportunity to really pause and to reflect on what works for me. Because at first I would sign up for a lot of things and I'd have to like bend and contort myself to fit into a box that really didn't serve me. So I think that if there are things in place that actually support parent ambassadors working in this space, and if we're very intentional with providing social emotional learning for parents, we would have better outcomes, better involvement, and the mission and vision of all of our organizations would be much more far-reaching. So my friend and I, Iola, we came up with a half-day workshop / training, and the training can demonstrate the importance of showing up as your authentic self and what that has on parenting. So when I'm able to show up as my authentic self, I thrive. And I think that would be the same for any parent or volunteer in this space. When you feel like you have to be a certain way around a certain group, it doesn't always serve the group, and it definitely doesn't serve the people who come to the table. And having that experience, as I said before, has really provided clarity to me for myself and what can be provided for other parents. The workshop can also support parents in exploring how self-care can be applied to their innate power as individuals and as a community. So sometimes when we think of self-care, it's maybe I should get a manicure or a pedicure, but what does self-care really mean to you? And for me, it meant having authentic conversations, even though they may be uncomfortable, having authentic conversations and being able to hold space for parents in a real and authentic way is what self-care means for me in a parenting space. So providing a safe place, holding a place for parents to come and show their authentic selves, for me in the parenting space, is self-care. The training and workshop can also help parents and guardians and parent ambassadors identify a personal action that they can implement in their parenting styles to influence and curate whatever they may be working on. So for me, boundaries was a big thing. How can I come up and show up in a place where I say, this is what I have to offer, and respectfully, I don't want to go past that offer, that boundary. So if I say I can manage 5 hours a week, please don't pressure me into saying, well, we do need to have these other things done. Could you possibly do 5 more hours? just putting up boundaries and unapologetically saying what works for me and what doesn't, I think just provides an awesome and safe space for me. So we've outlined a half-day workshop with these things in mind: parenting affirmations, holding space, showing up as your authentic self. So yeah, that's basically my presentation. My partner is not here this morning. She had an emergency to take care of, but any feedback or input that you could provide for us is much appreciated. And again, Gail, thank you for providing a safe space for me as a new parent ambassador. And Barbara, for you listening to our ideas, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Jo. And I appreciate so much what you're saying, that we're here to help you. Parent ambassadors are, and parents, but please don't take advantage of us, is basically what you're saying. And I think that I think everybody feels that way, right? I mean, I'm just learning to say no to people, right? Like, no, my plate is full. I'm sorry, I can't do that, because we are nurturers and we are fixers and we are doers by nature. And so for me personally, it's kind of painful for me to say, I can't help with that. I'm sorry. So you being bold enough and brave enough to say, I'm going to draw a line, and it's with respect and it's with love, but I need to take care of myself. Otherwise, I'm going to burn out quickly. And boy, do we see a lot of burnout in this industry. And so I think if we follow that model, I think a lot more could get done. So in a more cheerful way.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any comments? Or I saw a lot of hearts going up in boxes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Or
Sorry, Gail. Go ahead.
I just want to say, Jo is amazing, and I saw that early on and did what she said. I had conversations with her to find out what were her interests, what she wanted to do, and and what would fit into what we had. There wasn't anything specific that we were looking for, and it was just, what did these parents want to do? And some of the skills that she was using in other places matched great into what we were looking for. She was managing Facebook and social media accounts for other people. So it was like, oh, we could really use that. Do you want to do that part? Do you want to, and then just over time, when she was doing that, and then she saw the things she wanted to do, and it just, I've had that approach with the parent ambassadors, as far as looking at, what do you want to do and what can we help you with? Because it's, I look at more at like, we're helping them, they're, and they're helping us, but it's a two-way exchange always, and it should be, it's, both parties should benefit from it. And and I feel like that's what it's about, is everybody learning and growing and getting some business done, yes, but the business is helping people. So any way that turns out is
exactly.
good.
Exactly. I think Dawn had a question, and then Jill, you had your hand up. Is that right?
Yeah, but I just wanted to say thank you. I mean, that was great to hear, and I love your energy.
Thank you, Jill. I appreciate it.
I ditto that. That was beautiful. And it's so important, right? It starts with ourselves, and all of the things that you shared impact everybody in our lives. So thank you. It was great.
Thank you, Dawn.
Yeah, go ahead, Christopher.
I just wanted to say quick, I love that you were able and confident enough to say, like, don't overuse, right here are my boundaries, right? And I think that's really important, right? I think we had to learn, some of our parent ambassadors, I think, originally felt like they had to fit into this mold. And as we started talking, that same kind of conversation came sort of, gradually. It's a trust thing, but I love that you said it right off the bat and got that out of the way. That is really cool. So I appreciate you sharing all that you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christopher. And another idea that I had is an onboarding process for parent ambassadors, so that we know up front what are they willing and able to do so that we don't burn them out and then say, sorry, come back. We didn't mean to do that. So I think that having a formal, but not overly fussy onboarding process, I think would lead to better outcomes, because up front, don't ask this parent to be a greeter. Don't ask this parent to do 20 hours a week. Play to their strengths and have better outcomes.
Yep, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. Yeah. Thank you, Jo. Thank you so much. Any other comments? Jessica, you're smiling so big. I love your smile.
Thank you. I'm just agreeing. So sometimes I just smile because I
Yeah,
feel it.
I'll bet you feel it. Yeah, great. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Okay, Donna Farr is, and I didn't have your new title when I was writing up the agenda, so my apologies, but she was, and I think probably still is, a school readiness liaison for the Manchester Early Childhood Collaborative, and she is here to talk about all the work that they've been doing with parent cafes. So Donna, take it away.
Thank you, Barbara. I have to say that I feel like our parent cafes have definitely started from our parent committee. We have, for about a year and a half, had an offshoot of our School Readiness Council because of the LECC grant. Truthfully, this ability, we've had the capacity to reach out to families and start their own committee. And we now have 3 parent ambassadors. And I'm so with Jo about, well, when we started all this, we didn't know what a parent ambassador was and what they should do. And so I'm easy to flow with, okay, we'll figure it out as we go and see what happens. And this group of parents have been very good about telling me what their interests are, how much time they can commit. We throw ideas out there, and who's able to step up, steps up. If you don't, you don't. We totally understand where everyone is in their lives. So I think that's a really, what you're talking about, Jo, is so important. But you gave me some ideas about being more mindful about it, showing that intent right from the start and having those conversations. So I appreciate that. So our parent cafes started, our parent committee started during the pandemic. And we were hearing some very, very strong themes that I think the rest of the communities were hearing as well. They were feeling very isolated. They felt they didn't make the social connections they typically would have if the pandemic hadn't come. Their children were not making social connections. So we were hearing those pieces and asking, well, what would you like? What would you like something to happen? And they said, well, on a regular basis, let's get together. Let's do some ways that we can informally start to connect with other parents. And then when the opportunity earlier this year, where we had the $5,000 where we had to spend pretty quickly within a couple months, came along, we threw it out to the group and said, hey, what do you see with this? And we came up with the idea of a parent cafe. I have to admit, we do not have a curriculum. We did not follow a particular structure. We went with what the families were saying was a need and what we felt we could do. We have 2 parents that are multilingual, and that really helps, but I feel like we haven't reached certain communities within Manchester, so we really need to do some work on that. I wanted to say that our parent committee is really about 8 to 10 people that come regularly. They are all moms. They stay at home as well as work full-time and part-time. So that part, I'm proud we have a mix there. Our goal of the parent cafes was to offer monthly engagement for families to form relationships with each other. So we were meeting that need that they were saying they had not been able to make the informal connections. And we hoped from this that there may be some outside engagement, continuing these connections with each other. Our target audience were families that had children that were not in care. We realize there is a niche, there is a need for continued connection for families that are working or have children in childcare, but we kind of wanted to go for a successful thing to start off. And most of our parent committee had availability during the day. And they saw this was really a super unmet need for families that were home more. age of the children we were looking at is birth to 5. Because we have a fantastic play space and we wanted to, that was really appropriate for that age group. We knew in the summer when we offered these monthly groups, we would probably need to adapt for older siblings that were home from school, but we kind of wanted to give ourselves some guidelines to work with so that we would be successful. Our topics were really chosen by the parents and the staff. Myself and Caitlin McNamara made connections with local providers to find guest speakers. We wanted the actual parent cafes to be open discussion and not lectures for as much as possible, because we really saw the idea that parents have so much to offer to each other. And we learn best from each other versus having someone up there lecturing about statistics and data and best practice and all that. Throwing ideas with each other, just sharing our ideas and seeing what fits for us and what doesn't, and strengthening our own beliefs. What were our parenting styles, and why? Where does that come from? And what do we want to keep and what might we want to grow and flex a bit? Our topics include literacy opportunities as your children grow, healthy eating, raising culturally competent children. Our School Readiness Council chair at that time was the equity coordinator for the town's Board of Ed. She's amazing. She really does a fantastic conversation with about where does that start, cultural competency. Some other topics were staying connected with your partner, because that can be such a challenge with young children. We threw in some really fun activities like music and play. We will be doing creating healthy boundaries with families and friends, self-care, Jo, that you come to mind with that piece. And our final one in December is going to be a big paint party. So we've done some really good conversations with families, parents, and then we've also done some fun things with their children, because that's another way to connect. When we're all playing together, we're all dancing silly to music, we really make connections easily. We're thoughtful about a lot of different pieces, and I have to say, I just kept going back to our parent committee and asking questions. How do you think this would work? What do you see here? I feel like I've got children that are in their older teens, and I felt a bit disconnected from things, so I was always going back to the parent committee and asking. Really important, our childcare piece is that we have 2 kindergarten teachers that are stay-at-home moms right now, so they are being paid to be with our children, and we also have a part-time preschool teacher. So we've got 3 really, really strong people in the childcare space who know how to connect with parents, know how to run an open group, but make it really thoughtful for the children. We met with the childcare staff beforehand to talk about what would a routine look like. We all came with different ideas, how flexible to be with children coming and going out of the room to their parents. All those kind of questions came to our mind. How are we going to make this successful with such young children? And really to look at our philosophies a bit, because I have to say a couple of our staff are really strong in their beliefs, and we had to learn how to flex with each other, because you can come into some conflict among staff about how children should be treated, or parents and such. We do offer food throughout the parent cafe, and the parents have helped us choose what kind of food, and they help their children choose when and what to eat during any time of the group. Again, we're really, really fortunate. We have a large playgroup space that is used regularly for playgroups, and it's really made for a group of kids that come and go. So it's pretty impressive. And we have a really comfortable parent space that has couches and upholstered chairs and places to sit on the floor. And we put out toys for families with children under a year, because typically babies stay with their parents, because that would be really hard to watch the children, but also they're not ready to have their children go in the other room. So I'd say space-wise, we're really, really, truly fortunate on that. I wrote down a couple other pieces. Our advertising, we do social media. We have a fantastic newsletter that we're up to about 300 people follow right now. We have, through our Early Childhood Collaborative, we made sure everything went out to our partners, so they shared with families as needed. We have a town magazine that lists everything happening for our town. So we use that, as well as our parent committee members shared with their friends. And I have to admit, the best thing we have is our parent committee telling others, and people that come telling their friends to come. As we know, with so many of our programs, it's word of mouth that works the best. I've had a great time. I found it was really helpful, whatever, and then a friend comes along. Our process of signing up, you want to make it easy, but you also, I felt like it was important to connect with parents before they came, to know that we wanted to see them, that they weren't just another parent in the group, that we wanted a relationship with them. So I had them, through our flyer, they emailed me and gave me the age of their children and the contact information. And I tried to keep an email back and forth about what's your main interest? What would you like to come for? What, what's happening? And then I asked I let them know that we hoped that they would come on a regular basis, because we were looking for connection. We were looking for something beyond just this group, a one-time event. We've definitely had people come once or twice or 3 times, but we have a really nice group that comes on a regular basis as well. And then I also tried to really encourage RSVPing, because it's so hard to know your childcare needs if you don't know who's coming. And we've had a few times where it was a bit overwhelming. So we're thoughtful about that. So I kind of reflecting on how has it gone so far. I think we've had 6. And we have a core group of 6 families that come regularly, and we have 5 families that come to a few. But I'm very happy with that. It doesn't have to be huge numbers. We're talking about intimate connections and relationships. So I think that's a fantastic number. Some parents really connect with others easily. They have those social skills. We have one that says that she wants to meet every introvert she can and be their extrovert for them. So she really makes some great connections. We have other parents that come that are very quiet and reserved and want to watch initially, but maybe with a few starter conversations and connections, we can get them engaged with other parents. We send out email reminders of the cafes and ask for, like I said before, the RSVPs. We've had some guest speakers that are truly lecturers, that really, it was a struggle to get conversations going. They kind of saved it to the end, and we've been really working with making sure everybody's comfortable with the fact that it's have a brief conversation, put out some information, ask some questions, and wait for feedback, and just play and try to get everybody engaged. So it's varied quite a bit with that. We've had parents say that they really are thinking more about their parenting styles and feeling stronger about them, or questioning them and flexing a bit based on what they've heard with us. The child family activities truly are a blast. So we will always keep those in there as much as we can, because that's the best of everything. Many of the children had not been separated from their parents before. So that's a biggie. That's a big thing to have happen. They've come to play groups at that space, which was wonderful, many of the families, so they felt comfortable with the space, but they had never left their child and gone to another room. So I feel like that's one of our goals now, is to help people with just small pieces of having their children separated and being comfortable with it. But I can tell you, the ears on all of our parents, they know when it's their child saying mom, they know when it's their child crying, and they're very comfortable to get up, or the teacher's already to the door of the parent space, and they're making sure they're comforting their child, checking in, finding out what the need is, that kind of thing, if they need to use the restroom, whatever. But we've tried to make it a really successful time for those first-time families. And I have to say, I feel like that's been a fantastic success. We've had 3 fathers attend. 2 of them came with their significant others. We have one dad who has a 1.5-year-old, and then his wife had a child while with us, and he's brought both of them, and it's pretty darn amazing. He's handling a newborn and a 1.5-year-old that really stays connected. It's not, the 1.5 is not one that wants to be out playing. He wants to be with dad. So that's been pretty cool to watch, and the fathers have connected to an extent with each other, as well as with their significant other. They've reported, oh my gosh, I'm so glad we came together to be able to share these thoughts together and to grow together. So that was huge. Let's see. And it takes time for families to settle in. So we could probably just run a play group and have everybody in the play space, and that would be great. But we have families that definitely take time to have their children settle in, start talking to each other, which is what we want to have happen. But we have a guest speaker who's ready to roll and needs to be out, and we have to work that out a bit. And it works. What works really well is at the end, allowing families to connect more and be in the play space with their children and talk with each other. Some of the regulars are our parent committee member, and they give us fantastic feedback. They're very open and honest about what they think is happening, what's working and what's not. And we flexed our topics, we flexed the way we do things based on what they're saying. I've had 2 people join our parent committee that came to our parent cafes, which I think is another great success. So we fed them into other opportunities, or they never knew of the play space, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is a wonderful thing. I can't believe the town has this. And now they're coming to play groups as well. I find that the information gained from the speakers can be used by the parent ambassadors. So they're learning about community resources and sharing with others. I shared with Nicole that we had a speaker come from ShopRite. They have nutritionists there that will come out and speak for free. Not all the ShopRites, but some of them do. And she came out and spoke, and I want to tell you that the most of our time, she was laughing because by the end she wanted to hire all the families that were there. They were asking so many questions for their friends and wanted to know more, because the nutritionists at the grocery stores, they're located at the grocery stores, will take you around and show you things that you can buy for your child at that age that really are appropriate, new foods. If you have a special diet, they'll show you what's happening in the grocery store for that particular diet. I mean, they were amazing, but they thought it was so funny because the parents were acting as resources for each other. Oh, I want to tell my friend. Oh, as a parent ambassador, I want to share this with everybody. It's really pretty amazing to see, but it's fantastic resources for growing your parent ambassador knowledge as well. I think we're finding our voice. And Barbara, when you were talking about your brochure and what you see as a parent cafe or a community cafe, I think we're still at the sharing information and making relationship point of it, and it's six in. But we're hoping from the parent cafe as well as our parent committee that we're going to find a group that wants to find their voice and to speak out and to speak up and broaden what we offer or help us expand what we offer based on that. So that were some of my thoughts of what we do. Questions, wondering? I have no idea how long I went on.
There's a question in the chat, actually. Christine Giuseppe, she said, can you share more on your parent committee versus your parent ambassadors?
Yes, it's an interesting thing. So our parent committee is just a bunch of parents that are interested in coming together once a month to talk about what they want to see in Manchester, what's growing great, what's something more they want to know about, what services. So we've used the grant from the LECC, almost all of it we've put into what the parents are saying is a need. So I used that parent committee as a way of talking about planning for the funds that we have in our activities. The parent ambassadors are going with us to community events and talking to other parents. We have had a survey over time. I think one of the surveys came from the LECC grant initially. Our parent ambassadors are going out and asking parents those questions from the survey. They're coming to us to our early childhood fair Or this weekend, we're going to one of our mental health consultants is doing a big fall festival. I'm going to have a parent with me who's going to sit at our table and go talk to parents and connect them to resources. So our parent ambassadors are paid for more than what the parent committee does. Manchester over the summer was one of the 10 communities that was received funds to do a childcare survey, and our parent ambassadors were paid to go out and do the surveys with us about childcare need. So, and I have to say in other pieces in our parent committee, everyone is paid for coming to the committee meetings, and that is through LECC funds. Yep. Other questions or wonderings?
Christine, do you want to come? You're all set, Christine?
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to know, is that in person or in Zoom?
It's been both. We started in Zoom because it was during the pandemic. Well, actually, it was some of the meetings initially were, we tried to do both. We had an in-person meeting for those that wanted to come, and then we had a Zoom for people that weren't comfortable getting together at that time. It moved quickly to purely Zoom because they want to meet at night at like 6 o'clock, and you know what that's like with families. They're trying to finish up dinner, trying to put their children to bed. Their significant other might not be home quite yet. So we moved to our committee to Zoom, but we made sure that we had some in-person here and there. And those have been fantastic meetings. We do a really nice dinner. And I honestly, at the in-person, I'm looking for them more to connect and just have conversations. And I put up on the wall, like we do at meetings, a few questions and just say, as you have time, go around and fill out those questions, because I know you're going to want to talk to each other and play with your children. So yeah, we do a mix.
Donna, can you talk a little bit more about the space that you have? You mentioned the city has, or your town has play space.
We do. I can't even tell you how big it is because it's huge. It is located at one of our town parks. And it's larger than a classroom. It's really quite large. Play space that is set up like you would do a classroom. It's just amazing. And then connected to it, we have a parent room that's closed by a door, but so you can keep the door open or closed depending on how you want to have things flow. We have an open space for entry, and we have a room if you feel like you need to breastfeed privately, and it also has a changing table. And then it's amazing. And then we have a bathroom that is just for children as well. So I can't even tell you how lucky when I came to Manchester, I was like, holy cow, this is a gem.
Was that converted from a school space or what?
It was
built that?
No, it's kind of crazy. I don't know the initial purpose, but it is so big. It was never, I don't think it was ever used for children before. Half of the building is used for the food services for the town. So it's just this giant, like two-story high rooms. It's wild. I don't know. Our town, Manchester, is a resource-rich town. I can't believe what we offer in early childhood. There's only 2 of us that are full-time there, but boy, they offer a lot. They really do.
That's really wonderful. Yeah. And it's really, you can be creative. I know that when I was embedded inside of a school, and I would have meetings on the regular with the principal, and I said, we need to get a room for these parents that are comfortable. We're shoving them back in the nurse's office where my office was, in this tiny little space, and we have this nice furniture that was donated years ago. Can't you please find a space? And he did. And so it wasn't a ginormous room, but it was like the old resource room that the resource officer used. And so we were able to get a rug and a couch and a microwave. It had a sink already in it. And so the parents that's where they would come and just be parents and talk and feel connected. And I think that's such an important thing for parents, to feel connected and be with like-minded people who are struggling with the same struggles and celebrating the same celebrations. So, and it's important that they're there for each
Yeah.
other.
Barbara, when you said about donations, we were able to get the couches and the chairs donated over the past
Yeah.
few years from Bob's Furniture. They're right next door to the park.
Yeah.
So I think one of the families worked there or something. We had a connection with it, and they donated things they couldn't sell.
Right, right, yeah. Okay, thanks, Jessica. Yeah. Well, are there any other questions for Donna? This has been such a wonderful presentation. I appreciate all of you presenting. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's it then. I think it's a wrap, as they say. So keep your eye out for emails for the community cafe brochure. And thank you to all of my wonderful speakers, Donna, Nicole, Christopher, and Jo. You are appreciated, as are all of you. You are all doing the work that everyone should be doing, because it's the most important work, in my opinion. So families and children are where it's at. So keep up.
Hey, Barbara, can I
Keep
just
up the
ask a
good work.
question?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm just joking.
I'm wondering if there's a way, an easier way, and I apologize, my dog is now barking, of course, the second I
Yeah.
knew. If there's a way to connect, like I have connections with Donna, but those that are doing cafes or have good speakers or presenters that you know are engaging, instead of those of us searching for topics and possibly finding people that may or may not be good, right? Maybe there's a doc or something that we can put together as a collaborative through you guys, Barbara, and of different people that we know has done well, and maybe a variety of topics that could be something that parents are interested in.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I could start a Google Doc and share the link, and then make all of you editors, and then you could share. That's a wonderful idea. Yes. Let me write it on a sticky, otherwise it goes through my sieve of a brain. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate all of you, and I hope you have a wonderful day in the rest of your happenings. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to
Bye, everyone.
stop the recording. Okay.